So now we're over the hump. Everybody wants to do it. They're just not sure how to do it or what to do. Is there, a difference as to the media that you choose, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, or is it just, again, engaging in the media itself?
No, I always advise clients not to pick a particular thing, and I think the common misperception is that social media is the triumvirate. It's Facebook, it's Twitter, it's YouTube, and that's not what social media is. And so first helping to create some awareness and education around what it is, what are the risks, and how you can use it, and then taking that first step to kind of outline, okay, what are our internal business and strategic needs? Are we going to take this at an enterprise level, at a therapeutic level, at a brand level, find some targeted niche audiences, find out where they are on social media, and start listening to the information, and then take that insight and then use that to really drive more as a sustainable enterprise-wide program.
Indeed, we know from more than 10 years of listening in our company that the influential conversations among patients tend to happen not in Facebook, Twitter. They started before those vehicles existed, and even today they continue to exist largely in discussion groups, forums, private communities for people with the conditions. So when we advise our clients on listening, that's where we point them, and that's where the deep learnings are to be made. Looking at the established channels, I think the real question is how can we add value to those? And a great example of a company that took a very simple opportunity to add value is AstraZeneca with their AZ Helps Twitter account. This is a lesson lifted from Comcast, who first started trolling Twitter, listening for people having problems with Comcast, and immediately direct messaging them and getting a customer service person to intervene on their behalf to resolve their problem. AstraZeneca now monitors Twitter for anybody mentioning a problem with an AstraZeneca drug, an affordability problem or an access problem, or an adverse event associated with it, and they respond to them. They say, noticed your message about an affordability problem with Nexium. AstraZeneca may be able to help. Call 1-800-that. So it's a very simple thing, not difficult to approve. The messages are all defined and canned and all less than 140 characters, but brings real value. And anybody who gets one of those messages says, hey, this is not just a channel for me to fetch, it's a channel where I can get some response from an industry that maybe I didn't trust before this.
Bruce, you're not going to believe this. We just scratched the surface, but we're already out of time. So I want to thank you, Bruce, Jenny, and Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the conversation is not over. I hope you're going to hang around.
Yeah.
And we will continue this dialogue in overtime.
Sounds good.
So Michael, you were talking about
you mentioned Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and we get asked that a lot. Should we use Facebook? Should we use Twitter? And I think the first rule of promotion that we violate all the time is you got to start with your customer and back into your promotional platform. You don't start with a channel. You don't start with your own story. And if you do that, you'll find what makes sense. Sometimes YouTube might make sense. Sometimes Twitter might. Sometimes a call center is better. I know we feel like some of these things are archaic, but I think if you begin with what are the problems that you face on a daily basis, what are the issues that you have when you're taking my product or trying to manage your disease, and you back into what you can really offer, that's where you create engagement, and that's when you solve a problem for them and build a relationship.
And one of the interesting things we're seeing is the use, and when we present best practices to our clients, a lot of the tactics are owned properties, not properties like Facebook or Twitter, but sites owned by the marketers themselves, with social functionality overlaid on them. Gilead does this for their hepatitis B medication. Novartis does this for Gleevec. It's often a way, if you've got a mix of educational and promotional messaging, it's a more appropriate and more accepted venue for those kinds of messages to live. But you can gain the benefit of social propagation by overlaying the functionality. And of course, Facebook now makes that easier with their Facebook social plugin. So you can embed the Facebook like button. You can embed a share this functionality on your properties. And for many brands, that may be an easier and more appropriate and better transition into the world of social media than saying, okay, I'm going to have a Facebook fan page, where the proposition that somebody wants to be a fan of any brand is dubious enough.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I mean, you know, our company, I guess it varies among, but our company is better to focus on this from a disease perspective and move away from sort of the brand, which in some instances, you know, may be tarnished by the view that they're always trying to sell you something.
Yeah, I think, you know, Bruce, you had a great point on this earlier about that you know, was an opportunity we used to have, and that, you know, that platform of talking about disease education and lifestyle management has sort of been taken over and done very well by a lot of the organizations out there, and I personally think that
Managed care, PBMs, things like that.
Well, and the communities themselves.
Right, National MS Foundation.
Right.
Exactly, and so I think the real opportunity here is to build services, you know, around our products that connect the product with the condition. So, you know, help me manage my condition, help me take this product properly, help me get the best results I can, give me feedback on, am I doing well, am I not doing well? You know, that's the kind of information that really helps people, and we can really own that. And that differentiates our brands, it makes our brands more valuable. It helps you understand your disease a little bit better, and no one else can do that but pharma.
There's an opportunity too, I think, especially for companies that have franchises, to bring some value too. One of our favorite examples is Group Loop. Group Loop is a social network for teens with cancer who have very distinct needs that differ from even those of 20 and 30-year-olds with cancer. How do you get a date with no hair? And this is a great site. It is its content. The community is managed by the Wellness Community, a very respected and well-known cancer support organization, but with significant funding from the Amgen Foundation. So you can see that in terms of the production values and the richness of the functionality, the support of industry really showed up there, and they get both a play for Amgen's corporate brand on the site, as well as learnings from the conversations that go on within the community.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of activity out there, and I think that's part of what pharma has to get their handle around. A lot of, may not think that it's very prevalent, but there's well over in excess 300 social media type of sites dedicated specifically to healthcare pharma. I think you're right, most have focused more from a disease perspective and steered clear of product specific, but I think there are opportunities. And one of the first steps is just to take a step back and take stock of what you are currently doing in this area, and aspirationally what you'd like to do, and just kind of plotting it out. And you'll find that many say, oh, we're not playing in that space, but there are already a lot of departments within your organization that are already listening and mining on the internet, whether it's corporate security or competitive intelligence or legal or R&D. So they're already mining and listening relative to references to your corporation or your brand. And so there may actually already be a lot of infrastructure and processes that you can use as enablers to help pull this more enterprise-wide.
You know, manufacturing historically was never sort of a front burner issue for the CEO's office of pharma till it started to go wrong. Is this a front burner issue with chief executive officers, or is this really in the hallways of the marketing departments?
I think it's becoming much more of an issue. I wouldn't say it's top of mind on their list, but it's very related to what is top of mind for them right now, which is on-label, fair, balanced, appropriate sales and marketing tactics. I mean,
because that has cost them money and
because that cost them money. Exactly.
And reputation.
You're seeing an increase in the FDA warning letters. You're seeing an increase in the corporate integrity agreements that are hitting the industry, and so that certainly brings it to their attention. And social media is just it's just one other avenue and channel for that to potentially go awry. So although that might not be the topic, it's very related to what's top of mind to them.
Yeah, if the channel is not on the CEO's minds, the conversation certainly is. If I were Bill Weldon today, I would be very, very aware of the conversation about McNeil and Tylenol, and was I ever going to get that value back? And it's a conversation that is nowhere near as controllable or influenceable as it was even 10 years ago, when media relations could take over and could contact a handful of influential reporters and shift the tone of media coverage on an issue. Now, with potentially millions, hundreds of thousands or millions of people talking about your brand, how do you know what they're talking about? How do you appropriately participate in that conversation? How do you protect your reputation in that arena?
Yeah, and I think that the way we have to look at it is they're going to keep us honest. You know, and if we do enough things right, most of those comments are going to be good. They're going to be bad ones, and we have to be willing to accept that. That's the courage piece. But I think that they're going to give us good information for the most part, and we're going to be able to react to that, and over time, we'll get better and better comments. So I think it's a scary concept, but I do think there's a big opportunity in there.